Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be talking about the package mission from Halo Reach on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing New Alexandria mission from Halo Reach. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, along with David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
Good morrow, dear listeners.
On the last mission, which was Exodus, we dusted ourselves off from a fall from space, wandered the Reach wilderness for 9 days before stumbling across New Alexandria. There we avoided a gaggle of suicide grunts, met a new enemy type in the Brutes, and stole their gravity hammers. After securing a landing zone for some evacuees, we hopped on a Falcon to go activate some missiles to help more civilians GTFO Reach. This mission, New Alexandria, we essentially fly around and deactivate some jammers. Oh, and then Kat gets sniped in the brain. So there's that.
Uh-oh.
The date of this game is August 23rd, 2552, so it's essentially a continuation of the previous Exodus mission.
So this is a long day for Noble Six.
Ooh, he must be exhausted.
I know.
So what did you guys... So we did a lot of flying. This whole mission is pretty much flying and then hopping off and then shooting some stuff and then flying around and doing that. It took me a second to realize when I hopped in the Falcon. It's been a while since I played this game. I'm like, what button do I hit to
fly?
And
I immediately get out of it and trying to go up and down and forget how to do everything. It's every time I play this mission because it's so long in between them that I forget how to control.
Well, the button prompt, maybe I missed the button prompt, but it didn't say like what's the, I don't know, the acceleration or the, get the propellers going. It just tells you how to hover.
Yeah, I think that stuff happens on like normal difficulty. I don't think it gives you like control tutorials when you're playing on heroic or above.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I liked flying the Falcon in general. It felt good, once you got going. And then having that hover button is nice because then you can just kind of, you don't have to worry about, going up or down. And just.
I like the Falcons. I think people generally don't. I think even from the impression from the community and stuff like that, people weren't big on them. But I do like them.
I
like the difference in pace in this mission from all the other missions in Halo Reach. It's very different.
Yeah. It almost felt like a side quest, I guess. They specifically say, I think, that you got to go help out Kat for some things. So even from that standpoint, it's like, oh, we're just kind of going off the side, and then it's just something that you haven't really done much of. This is the first time we've flown, right? Let's see, man. This is a long season.
Unless you got a Banshee or something.
Oh yeah. But we've been behind the turret on a Falcon, but we haven't actually flown the Falcon itself. That's right. But yeah, the skybox is amazing in this thing.
Oh, so good.
Oh, it's scary. It's like you look over and there's like two cruisers and they're glassing like just a couple of miles away. You're like,
Yep. It's a continuation.
Do I have to worry about that?
We talked about in the last episode how it feels very dire, like we're not going to win. And this is kind of a continuation of that. Then you hop on the Falcon and everything's essentially dark and, the Covenant's all over. It has the intro cutscene
planet's
itself.
Being glassed.
Right.
It's just awful.
Yeah, the intro cutscene itself is very somber. Just the music is very down. And you're just like, all right, I'm going to go try to do some stuff. Try to help out Kat and deactivate some jammers.
Well, and this is a huge metropolis, and it's just abandoned.
Yeah.
There's just nothing but, a phantom here and there and some aliens running around. But other than that, it's just this bleak, dark, abandoned city that you're kind of wandering around in.
Yeah.
Kind of like ODST.
Yeah, there's definite ODST vibes in this. Even just the randomization of the objectives, how open it is, that it's player choice and what order you do things in. I really like that. I think there's even there's ODST music in this mission and stuff like that, taken direct from the soundtrack and stuff like that. So it's got definite ODST homage. homage, if you were.
Talk about the player choice, because I feel like I read some of the comments, which we'll get to later, and I didn't experience some of the things that came up. I felt like, I took off in my Falcon, and then all of a sudden Kat got on the radio and told me where to go. I didn't necessarily stray from where the what she was prompting me to go do at the time, but it seemed like you could go pop around to all the different buildings and maybe do some exploration.
I mean, there isn't a whole lot to explore. There's like the 3 kind of main towers, the main areas that you land on, and there's a whole bunch of the buildings, like rooftops that you can land on and stuff like that. Like, but it is just cool in terms of like it's open to a certain extent, and the objectives are easy enough to accomplish. Like, it's not an overly difficult mission.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, and also there's like the main 3 objectives, and then there's like little objectives sprinkled in the way. So one of them is with Buck, which is one of the ones awesome. David and I did. There's other ones where it's just like kill a bunch of engineers or take out a phantom, just stuff like that.
So I didn't get any of that stuff. I
Were you playing on normal?
Missions. I was playing on heroic.
Oh.
So
we got a Buck one.
What was the Buck one? So if you're just flying around, Buck will
essentially Buck is doing a mission. I don't think we know what exactly, but he's on an undercover mission for something, and he needs an escort he's going from literally from A to B. Mm-hmm. So he leaves one building's rooftop in a Pelican, and you just escort that Pelican to another building. It's very simple. And it's just kind of 2 bits of kind of Buck dialogue, him requesting assistance. He says from someone who knows how to fly or something like that, or someone who can shoot straight. I can't remember. He's some Buck terminology.
Some Buck line, cheeky Buck line.
Some cheeky Buck line. So you just escort this Pelican. There's like a few waves of Banshees, nothing crazy, and he just lands and gets dropped on a building. Myself and Krista played around with trying to capture him. So I took a screenshot.
Buck captured you.
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
Kidnapped you.
So we landed. We kind of went past the Pelican and landed on the building he was going to, and I jumped out, and then I wanted to try and get a screenshot of Buck to actually see what he looked like, and it's just an ODST model. There's no face or anything like that. It's just a ODST armored trooper, and he just goes into a random building and into a room. So I followed him in, as you would, and then was ready to press the screenshot button when he just dematerializes. And it's just me in this blank empty room, stuck forever. So
yeah, the door closed behind them and wouldn't reopen, so David was just stuck in there.
Oh, so I was just stuck. So luckily this mission is built well enough that Bungie thought ahead, so you can just push a button to kind of teleport yourself. It's just called evac. You teleport back to the beginning of the mission in that building.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then you can call for another Falcon that just comes in and drops off and picks you up. So that's kind of cool.
So I did that randomly. It like prompted me to evac, even though I didn't need to evac. I forget what point it was, and so I did it, and then all of a sudden I was just on this rooftop without my Falcon anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I think Bungie just thought, well, players are assholes, and we don't want them leaving Player 2 on a building abandoned, and so Player 2 just has to sit there. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna put the evac button in.
Yeah. So did you each get a Falcon when playing co-op then?
We could have taken a Falcon, but instead, on co-op, if you wait, the initial Falcon lands, and then another one comes up, and that one has a grenade launcher on it. Mm-hmm. So David piloted and I grenade launched.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's the best one. Because the grenade launcher Falcon is pretty cool, and it's obviously fun to use.
So did you get a waypoint then when you encountered the whole Buck thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it gives you a place to go, normal kind of waypoint objective. I think I've only done this a handful of times, and I think I didn't know about it the first time. But I got very excited because it's like an Easter egg, it's cool, it's Buck, yay, from ODST, yay. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Buck is a character. If you're playing through from the beginning, Buck's a character that you will encounter a couple other times within the Halo, the Halo experience. But this is essentially could be the first.
He becomes important.
Mm-hmm. He does. He becomes fairly important, and he's very snarky and funny and has a personality. Whereas
it's Nathan Fillion. I mean,
mm-hmm. He plays Nathan Fillion. He plays himself essentially.
Yeah.
So let's see here. So since we kind of probably all went around in different order, it's kind of hard to actually do a walkthrough. But I'll kind of I guess, talk through the way I did it. So I didn't do any of the side missions, which I guess I'm kind of bummed about. But let's see, I did at one point. I had to go down in an elevator at one point and listen to some funky elevator music. Do you guys remember doing that?
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
In
I
the
love
hospital?
that.
Was it the
And that,
hospital?
That's not the hospital. That's some other place.
Yeah, that was the
Was
first
that the
one I went to.
penthouse?
Yeah, it's essentially the remake of
Yeah.
Ivory Tower
Okay,
from
yeah. With the
Hill.
drones.
With the drones. Yeah, so
Yes,
that's
the
pretty cool.
drones pop up there. That's right. They almost kind of like scared me. I was like, "What? What's going on?"
Yeah,
I did not
They
expect to
ambush
see them.
you.
I tried so hard to abandon David.
Yes, she did.
Did you?
But I followed her into the same elevator.
I called him a new elevator, and then I got in the other one, thinking that I'd get away before him.
Oh, funny.
But
I think
didn't-
playing co-op with Krista would be a trip. I feel like it would be a good experience that everybody should do at some point in their life.
There's positives and negatives.
I know all the Easter eggs, so that helps.
Yeah, that's true.
She's good with the Easter eggs, to be fair.
Like, oh, let's do. Actually, I
One
did
of
do a little
which-
more exploring because I think Krista, on one of the previous episodes, you said that if you explore around, there will be like guns kind of laying around the mission. I didn't find any though, but I did.
There's a
try.
lot of guns in this mission, and especially in that tower area, there's a lot of weapons that you can get. There's rocket launchers and shotguns and snipers and stuff. There's all sorts. Fun.
Yeah, you just gotta not activate the jammers and really explore the area.
There's also that Marine, Krista. You
Yes,
pointed
the
out to me.
crazy Marine.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him before.
You hadn't seen him before?
No,
I
I
was
think I'm pretty
surprised.
sure it was the first time that when you showed me him.
Oh.
Tell me about this crazy Marine.
Well, in the penthouse, in the Soviet Synoviet Center, I think that's right. But the drone room. In the drone room, it's up above, kind of where when you're playing the multiplayer map, there's the elevator. So it's kind of on each side of that little elevator once you go up. There's a Marine that's just kind of going crazy. He's got a gun to his head. He's like, I can't do this, man. They're going to turn us into grunts. They're going to slap, gas masks to us and make us kill each other. The aliens are us and just all this kind of weird shit. And I'm just like, man, you're going to have a really rude awakening when the flood shows up.
Right.
It's not going to be good. But yeah, he just he spews a bunch of stuff, crazy stuff, and then...
Can you end him, or...
You can murder him if you would like to murder him.
Oh. Okay.
David and I just left him there,
That
so...
was nice of you.
I know.
Murder's
what
wrong,
happened.
Colin.
Murder
Yeah,
is
you
wrong.
can't just go around killing people, Colin.
Oh, no. Only aliens.
Yeah,
Good man,
only
good man.
aliens.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. I did pick up a concussion rifle finally during this mission, which I hadn't really wielded. But there's a couple points where you meet up with a concussion rifle, either a brute or an elite, and they're annoying to take on one-on-one. They're really a pain.
They are, yeah, they suck.
Yeah. So I finally tried to give it back to him.
They'll also fire those things point blank at you as well. It's really annoying. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I think that's what I like what I said before, that the different enemy types with the same weapon behave differently. I love that. Like, the brute is brutish and will shoot point blank with a area of effect weapon and won't care how much it hurts itself, as opposed to a grunt or an elite, which will have some sense of self-preservation. And, if you get up on top of them when they have like a frill rod and stuff like that, they just try and retreat. They don't like try and shoot you from such a close range. I love that.
The hospital, once you get there, that's where you meet some shielded grunts. And we've met them before already, earlier in the campaign, but there's a lot of them here, and you kind of forget how much damage they can take before they go
So
down.
that's
Well,
because
if you
of an
take down the
engineer.
engineer, if you take down the engineer, you're fine.
Oh, I think I went eventually and found the engineer, and then
Yeah,
okay, that makes sense.
He gives them those shields. So once you take him out, they don't have that anymore.
That's right. Engineers, again, for newbies, are kind of these floaty alien thingies. I don't know if we explained this already or not.
They're floating octopus.
There you go. Easy
Kind
enough.
of, yeah.
And they're non-threatening. They're just like little helper.
Yeah, they
helper
won't
bees.
they won't do anything to hurt you. They'll just give enemies shields and be annoying and go, oh.
Yeah, I
basically.
heard that at the top of the stairs. Right? You can kind of hear it in there. Like, is there
Yeah.
a whale going? What's
It's
going
in
on?
this. It's in the stairwell. It just floats up and down the stairwell,
Being annoying.
being really annoying. And then you just murder it. Murder the poor helpless alien.
And this is where there's
And then-
lots of needle weapons too. So I picked up a needle right
Yeah.
here and just needled everybody. And I did finally. I don't know if maybe I just didn't realize before, but it took. So I picked up a needle rifle,
Yes.
which I love. And it takes 3 needle rifles, needles to then explode. So I was able to kind of clear out a bunch of brutes in this area. Just 1, 2, 3.
It's real
explode.
effective against brutes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they don't have shields. It's really nice.
Yes, that is nice. Let's see here. Then let's see. We get a jetpack eventually. Let's see.
Yeah, you get a jetpack in Club Era.
I think I got one before that.
Did you get one in the hospital? There might
think-
be one in the
I feel
hospital.
like I got one in the hospital. Yeah. When I went down to the hospital, there's a jetpack there. Because then you get a bunch of jetpack elites there.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
that's true.
Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
The Rangers come in.
So they come in. And I actually tried. I don't know. I was trying to speed through the mission for some reason. So I tried just running past them, and that didn't work. So I was like, okay, I'll just clear them out. They're actually not that difficult.
No, they
Okay.
don't take many hits.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be more of a pain in the butt, but not so much. Do we want to talk about Club Era?
Yes.
Yes, let's.
Who wants to take
Let's
the lead
talk
on this?
about
Because
Club Era.
I had forgotten about this completely from my first playthrough.
Really?
And I was like,
this
whoa,
is my
this
favorite
is
Easter
it like
egg.
a dance? What's going on here?
Oh, it's my favorite Easter egg. The just Club Era in general is great. If you do not activate the Easter egg, you get a bunch of hunters and just brutes and grunts and stuff like that. You run in, you deactivate it. You can kill the guys if you want, or you can just run out. That works too.
So that's what I did. I mean, I apparently had the most boring playthrough on this mission because I'd had a bunch of hunters. So I killed like 4 hunters before I did the jammer thing. Actually, I think I only
Yeah,
killed 3
there's a
of them.
lot of
Got
them in
stuck
there.
on a balcony or something. Anyway, so what's the Easter egg?
So if you go, it's on the outside of the new Alexandria Hotel. It's a little ways down. It's in a weird grassy area with a couple trees.
So this is a separate
There's a
building or
button.
that same building?
It's the same building.
Okay.
It's just a little lower, but if you hit the button, then you go back to Club Era. There's actually a dance party going
No
on.
way.
So it plays Never Surrender, which is a remix of the Halo theme, which I think was that the Halo CE soundtrack? It was either on the Halo CE soundtrack or the Halo 2 soundtrack way back in the day. But there's a bunch of grunts, and they all have it's just their being hit animation, but it's looped, so it looks like they're dancing.
Oh, funny.
And then there are no hunters, which is great for legendary playthroughs. Just 0 hunters. No one will attack you unless you activate the signal jammer. And also there are brutes. There's a brute DJing, and then on each of the bars, there's a brute just like wiping the top of the bar,
Oh, hilarious.
doing that bartender thing. Yeah, it's really funny.
That's
It's
good.
super
And then
cool.
and then the moment you activate the jammer, there's a record scratch sound, and then everybody starts to kill you.
Yes.
Or if you start shooting at people. So
Sure.
you just activate that, you run out, because it takes a second for all of the AI to start attacking.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes this part of the mission like a breeze, like super easy. So you just run in, run out.
That's good.
Good stuff.
That's too good.
It's amazing.
So yeah,
It's such a
apparently-
random Easter egg.
So had you seen it before, David, or not?
Yeah, I knew
Okay.
of it before, and I did. I'm pretty sure I did it years ago with Krista as well.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, probably. I think we did a bunch of the Easter eggs a while ago.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So that was the last building that I had, and then essentially we went back to the Oni building, and you just had to take out a bunch of shade turrets.
Yep.
Which wasn't very difficult even on heroic. You know, there's some banshees and some phantoms in the distance, but they're not much
Killing
of a
those
problem.
phantoms.
I love
Feels
killing
so good.
phantoms. They're so satisfying when they blow up.
It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
good. I love it.
Very good. And then essentially you're done, and then you get a final cutscene, and more sadness, really, because this is the first time
Yeah.
you met up with the team since George died. And they don't blame you or anything like that. They're just bummed out in general, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Everyone's sad. Just hitting around. Sad sack party.
Yeah. And then, essentially, they just kill off Cat for fun. Like, what?
For no reason.
Yeah.
Well, first they glass, like, near the building.
Right. Yeah.
So-
Yeah,
And then-
she detects that, right? So she
Yeah,
she sees
fun
that energy
fact
coming
about
in.
that. Yeah, she says that we get something like...
Radioactive spike or something.
Yeah, there's a terminology. It says we're receiving 90 million, I can't pronounce it now, but let's say roentgens of radiation. 500 roentgens of radiation over a period of 5 hours is fatal. Receiving 90 million would
Ooh.
absolutely kill you dead.
Gotcha.
So, like, that's just kind of a funny thing where, like, they're apparently unaffected, even though they all
Well,
have
they're
their
also
helmets off
wearing
and stuff.
Mjolnir armor.
Well, they have their helmets off, Krista.
Well, don't they? Well, yeah, I guess.
Well, Emil doesn't. He never takes it off.
So, no, that's true. So, they're just saying that maybe her Geiger counter, let's say, was off, totally, like, malfunctioning because of the amount of radiation.
So that's why they were
And so
able
that's
to puncture
totally
the
true.
armor.
And then they're also saying that that's also why Katz had no shield, essentially, when she was murdered, when she got a shot. Like, 'cause I think it was a needle rifle that killed her.
Mhm.
Yeah, to
so-
the head, to the
so, like,
noggin.
You think her shield and stuff would help, but, like, I think that's what they're just... I don't want to say, like, lore apologists, but, like, people just saying, oh, they have no shields because of they were just glassed and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Maybe the radiation interfered with that or overloaded their shields and stuff.
Well, I mean, the building itself wasn't glassed. The glassing was close, but not on top of them. That's why one of the things they said as the glass is being blown out is that close.
Yeah.
So I mean, they weren't receiving it directly. They were just in the area of a lot of radiation.
And when we talk
But I'm
about glassing, because I don't know if we really talked about that much, that just, kind of the general term means that the after effects, right, is just kind of all melting.
the-
Like,
yeah,
the
Covenant,
ground looks like glass.
The excavation beam, I think is what they call it.
Yeah.
So it's when that gets discharged.
But the after
Yeah.
effect is essentially it's just everything's flat and smooth, and it looks like glass, right?
It melts
Yeah.
everything together
Yeah.
into obsidian and stuff.
Yeah, that's why they call it glassing, because even the Covenant at this point in time, we're calling it glassing a planet.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like the terminology for them lasering the entire surface of a planet to make it uninhabitable and to kill any life that it still exists on the planet.
That's unique to Halo, right? I haven't heard glassing on any other kind of science
Oh, no.
fiction or anything like that. Have you guys?
No, that's
unique.
very unique to Halo, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. That's what I thought.
And I think in other places they described it in more detail. The amount of effort involved in doing that is a lot. So Covenant didn't actually do it that often in terms of totally destroying a planet's ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
It takes like hundreds, if not thousands, of ships shooting simultaneously into a planet with multiple energies, not just those lasers, but also just any kind of plasma to like essentially superheat and boil off the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
That takes tremendous amount of firepower and effort, and so like they may have glassed, let's say, cities or continents, but they wouldn't necessarily ruin a planet for all time. You know, so
Well, which is
that's
why
just important to
after Halo 3 and, in that era of Halo 4 and Halo 5, we see a lot of extended lore of people returning to glassed planets.
yeah,
Yeah, that
Because
makes
it's
sense.
just a specific area on the planet that has been glassed.
Right.
and even it's interesting to see. I know we're leapfrogging ahead, but Halo 5 has a mission that kind of deals with this and has a level where you go back to a glass planet, which is kind of cool. There's a whole industry that gets essentially created out of, let's say, repurposing glass planets and stuff like that. It's kind of crazy and kind of fucked up if you really dig down into it. So we'll
Mhm.
probably get there someday, and we'll talk about that again.
We will this year.
Eventually.
The end of the cutscene is essentially everybody looking out. Is it Carter that's carrying Kat?
I think it's 6.
Yeah,
Oh, is
six
it six?
carrying
Okay.
cat.
And everything's a disaster.
You're just looking at like the molten remains of New Alexandria.
Mhm. And I think maybe they must have mentioned it before, but they want to send the group to the Oni back to Sword Base, so that's where we're headed next.
Yeah,
The Covenant own it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they had essentially said, in the conversation between Kat at the end, like a lot happens in that cutscene.
Yeah,
You learn a lot
there's a
about
lot of
Reach and what's
information
happening.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, like, humanity have more or less given up Reach at this stage in the war, let's say. So they're kind of all the Spartans are being redeployed to defensive formations and defensive actions. So it's essentially like a forced retreat from the planet. That's all people are doing. So your next mission is very much kind of part of that. But that's essentially, Kat is questioning that, like, you know, she says there's a great line, it's like, I know we've lost, but I want to know we've lost the war. Do you know what I mean, in terms of how deep, what are the ramifications of what's happening right now? Because obviously soldiers on the line don't know that kind of information. But Kat, I liked her for that. Her like passionate of like intelligence gathering. You don't get that a lot from Spartans. Spartans tend to be just told what to do, and that's it. But I like the Spartans that question, that are kind of out of line a little bit.
That's a good point. She is one of the few Spartans, though, that's dead, that we know is dead. You know, George is questionable. He's 95% dead, but Kat is dead. What, let's see here. I guess we can wrap up our thoughts. Anything else that you guys want to chat about that we missed before we go to community? Or should we toss to community now?
There is a really cool Easter egg in this game, or in this level. It essentially allows you to pilot either a Pelican or a Phantom. So, just a quick recap of what that is. There's a building, it's near Club Era, and there's a little jutted side to it, so there's a little side sticking out, and if you go underneath that, on the ceiling of it, is a button. So essentially what you have to do is, you have to do it with two players. One player gets on top of the Falcon, and the other player very carefully maneuvers under this part of the building, and the other person jumps up with a jetpack, clicks the button, and then all you need to do is either drive the Falcon or a Banshee through the big building that has a huge, like, circle in it, big circular building. It basically becomes a portal. You drive through it, and then if it's a Banshee, it's a Phantom. If it's a Falcon, it's a Pelican. And it also breaks the skybox, so you can go anywhere. You can just keep going forever if you wanted to.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You can go look at the Covenant cruisers and stuff like that as they're glassing. So that's a really fun Easter egg. It's probably one of my favorites in Halo Reach. It's difficult to get, but it's a lot of fun to play around in.
I don't think I've ever done this one. How do they control? Does it control like a Pelican? Is it different? Is it just like
Nah, it controls basically the same as the Falcon. Yeah. Yeah, but it's
just
fun.
like a skin or something, just like a large skin.
Yeah, and also you can, if you go through the building with the second player ends up in the the back of the Pelican, where all of the passengers sit. So it's kind of fun.
Can they see around? Is the door open?
They can see a little bit, but I mean, it's basically you're stuck in there until something happens. But it's just kind of a fun, great game-breaking Easter egg.
That's crazy. That's cool. I like that. Let's do
stuff.
community stuff, and then we'll try to wrap her up.
Sure.
Who wants to go first? David, you want to go first? Have
I
you summarized Matt Lunt's
I have.
yet? Okay, nice.
Oh, God.
It's okay this time. So we have a first comment from Scott Ray, who actually, I really like this. He started playing Reach again because of us. So, yay!
Yeah, that's good.
Positively meant, so that was pretty cool. He loved to see Buck. He wasn't mad about least favorite missions because of all the flying. I like it because of all the flying, but I understand that some people don't like the Falcon and they don't like how it controls. And this mission is very much a weird one in terms of like all of Halo, in terms of how it's structured. So I can understand if people aren't mad about it. It can be a bit long, which I think is what other people have said as well. Jed Hikes has logged many hours in this, just doing that Easter egg that Kristen mentioned about the Pelican and Phantom, and loads of flying around on a massive map. So it is actually pretty cool. It's a pretty broad map. Matt has a more concise comment this week, so thank you, Matt, for that. I appreciate the efforts that you go through to make your comments legible. The guts of Matt is, I think he does like this mission, even though you wouldn't seem that he does like this mission. So he comments the fact that the mission became a meme in terms of like how Kat dies and stuff like that, and just she starts to be developed and then it's just instantly cut off. I think he loves the skybox and thinks it's one of the best ones they ever made, and I agree. It's awesome, like we said earlier. The gameplay is not that much difficult, as he says. Like, it's a bit tedious. Banshees don't attack very often, which is true. I guess they don't want to bombard you with characters as you go through. And I guess it kind of ties in lore-wise. It makes sense if they're about to glass that area, that there wouldn't be a whole lot of Covenant troops necessarily. But obviously with the jammers, if they were attempting to do something there, probably prevent the only building. They probably knew what the only building at this stage may have been the center, and they were preventing, I guess, the evacuation and all that kind of stuff. What else have we got? Nick. So Nick Sapida, he found this route really long and tedious. He did enjoy the Falcon and the piloting. Like I said, it was kind of easy enough. Very somber, very drawn out music. It pretty much does, it's very good at setting the tone for the rest of the game, like we said previously. He liked the Ivory Tower multiplayer map, which was cool. Into the campaign, I like that too. Like I said, he loves the skybox, the Corvettes. It takes place in Exodus, which is great considering how little time that's been other missions and stuff like that. Cat's dead, which is kind of bittersweet. I agree. We've just lost George. Everything else is kind of crumbling. Yeah, pretty concise. He loves the book, but he didn't get to see it. And again, he comments about Cat's death when no shields and a needle rifle does kind of make sense. And that's kind of it from Facebook. Over to you, Krista Brown.
All right, on Twitter we talked a lot about all of the fun Easter eggs. Lots of memes. We got Silver at Halo Completionist from the Halo Conversationalists talking about some Club Era fun. Also Bad at Halo. So Bad at Halo says, love the mood and tone of the mission. A massive city under total Covenant control. Only sparse military forces remain. Love that the 3 main missions are randomized and never in the same order. And don't forget DJ Brute Zizzle at Club Era spinning them dope beats. Everybody loves DJ Brute. And then also we have Sal Sal at Halo Fan for Life. He has a blog. It's really cool. Check it out.
Hi, Sal.
Hi, Sal. What's not to love about this mission? Buggers, shooting down banshees, phantoms and shade turrets. Buck, DJ Broody Brute, Easter eggs galore. There's so much to do and find in this mission. Fly a falcon, pilot a phantom or pelican. Yep, you can do that too. So it's just an overall fun mission. I think it's so loved by the community because of how different it is from like what we expect from a regular Halo mission. So good stuff.
Yeah, we've had pretty good variety. Last couple missions we've had some good variety, and this mission is all variety. We can finally fly, and we drop off on a couple different locations, and you can do side stuff. You got Easter eggs, so there's a lot to do here. Or there's not much. Like you can do the way I played it.
You can just go do the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So I think previously on a previous episode we talked about the Moa Burgers.
Yes, we did.
How much
the moment
the
we're
Moa
all
Burgers
waiting for
cost, and we talked about how many Moa Burgers Krista could buy.
Because we all know Krista's a crazy person.
Yeah. So if you do not know me, I played a lot of Halo Reach. It came out when I was in high school. Sorry, guys. It came out when I was in high school, so I had a lot of time on my hands to be able to, just play a bunch of multiplayer. And my overall goal for Halo Reach was to reach the rank of Inheritor, which I did, but also cost many an hour, and I also have accumulated many a credit. And just to know, once you hear this number, this is after I've bought everything in the armory. So Moa Burger is...
Wait, hold on. You've bought everything.
Yes, I have
bought
bought everything.
Much money as you actually can in the game.
And this is leftover currency.
A ton of credits left over, yes.
Yep. So a Moa Burger is 7 credits and 77 cents. I'm not sure what they call
what's
cents.
The credit cents?
But
subcredit.
I have 10,250,419 credits.
Dang.
So I could buy 1,319,230 Moa Burgers. Party at my house.
Yeah, we're gonna do it up. Let's go. Let's eat some burgers.
Diabetes
some
is
burgers.
rampant. Here we go. All with cheese. It's gonna be delicious.
How much does like an armor set or like a helmet cost usually? Like 1,000, 10,000?
Oh, I don't know. I can't even look that up anymore. I can't even see at this point. Yeah.
It's crazy.
I mean, some of the more expensive items were like the black visor, which I think was 10,000, and some of the voices
Mm-hmm.
But nothing was even close to like 1 million credits in the armory, I think.
That's nuts.
I just had so much extra. I'm like, I'm just going to buy everything. And also the haunted helmet, the helmet with the skull in it, only costs 1 credit once you get to Inheritor.
Oh,
So, I mean, that isn't even expensive.
that's cool.
Yeah.
like
It's basically Bungie trolling us. It's like, haha, you spent so much time and effort. Here, have it for 1
Have it
credit.
for 1. That's good.
Ugh. Jerks. Before we get to kind of wrapping up, there's 2 kind of bits of trivia that we haven't touched on that I just want to mention. This is the only mission in Halo Reach that has all of the species that you can fight against in it, which I think is an interesting thing to note. It's also one of the only Halo missions that has all the combatable species present, except for the Sanhayum, which you can only really fight once, which is the Prophet of Regret in Halo 2. So I thought that was kind of an interesting little thing to note. Also, I know I said this before, and I've said it in numerous episodes, there was a vid doc where Bungie were describing what was going to be in this game. So in development, this level had a different form, where Bungie considered having you be in a scarab as the city is being glassed, and you were controlling the scarab trying to get out of the city while it was being glassed, but they couldn't figure it out. They couldn't get it to work correctly, so it got scrapped. And I just thought that would have been incredible. That would have been awesome.
Why do they have to tease us?
I know. Don't tell us these things. Don't tell us stuff that we can't have.
So, like, you would have been trying to take down the scarab, and it's like walking out of the city or something like that?
I think you hijack a scarab. You're the ones in the scarab controlling it as you escape this city being glassed. And I'm like, whoa, that's so it just sounds awesome.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
God damn it.
God damn it.
Was that it then?
That's it then. That's all I got, buddies.
All right, cool. Well, hey, that will do it. Our debriefing of Halo Reach's New Alexandria mission. I almost feel like they should have switched the names. Like, New Alexandria should have been the previous mission. Anyway, so on the next episode, we'll be covering the package from Halo Reach. What could the package be?
Not what Krista says. Krista's dirty mind went.
I'm sorry.
Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com. Has anybody checked the email? Has any emails come through? Do people
No, I checked the email.
Okay. Or drop us a tweet, which is easier, at podcastevolved. That'll do it until next time. Evolved.
Evolved. Package.
Package.
Ooh, what a package.